Hi guys, it's Uga and welcome back to another video. Today, let's tier rank all the books that I've read in 2021. Oh, almost said in 2022, but no, 2021. You've seen the best, you've seen the worst, but there are books in the middle, and there are books that I want to talk about a little bit. So, let's do a tier ranking. So, let's introduce my tier ranking. I have new favorites, which are books that will totally become my favorite books of all time. I have books that are amazing, they maybe make the best of the year, but are not favorites of all time, that you will always remember them. Books that are very good, enjoyable, was a good time, but nothing special. Books that are meh, that you just like, yeah, I don't get it. And books that you should avoid. I have one in mind already for that, but you'll see later. So let's start. The first one I have here is The Red House Mystery by A.L. Milne. This was one of the books by my 8 Preferred Murders project. It's a murder mystery, very interesting, so I would say it's between the enjoyable and the very good. I think I'm torn because I really enjoy it. I think it's the end part of very good and beginning on the top of enjoyable by now. ABC Murders by Agate Crisi, another one by the May Perfect Murders project, and this one is amazing. I love Agate Crisi's writing style. I love Hercule Poirot. I think the story is brilliant in the point of view of the murdered, one of the best. I totally loved it, and it's amazing. The Storyteller by Jodi Picoult, definitely amazing. No doubt, Jodi is one of my favorite authors of all time, and on this one, you see someone who is dealing with something of grief, and it's set on World War II. So we have past of World War II, because she met this man who says he's an ex-Nazi and wants to be killed by her because she's Jewish, and her grandmother tells her story. You see the connections. It's a very, very, very good story. It's very good. Another book by Jodi, Salem Falls. I would say this is enjoyable. Yes, top of enjoyable. It's about this man who is being wrongly accused of sexual assault. He went to prison. Now he's getting out, starting a new life, and he goes to this new town where he has to register himself in the police. So it comes the buzz that he's a sexual assaulter. He works in this diner where the owner has trouble because a daughter died and she still believes that she's alive, so he has here some grief, and they have some girls that try to make him have sex with him, but then he gets accused again of sexual assault. He goes to this trial. I think it's touched on the subject of wrongly accused because Jodi already has a book about sexual assault, so I think it was very enjoyable. I love Jodi, so I liked it. A Darker Shade of Magic by V. Schwab. Top of finishing of amazing? No, it was very good. I really liked the first one. It was a very good start of the series. Very liked the characters, the setting of London, the magic, the fighting scenes. Lila, one of the best characters. Totally loved it. I'm Traveling Alone. It's a new favorite, or it's just amazing? Tough, this one, tough. I don't know. Probably it's a new favorite. The story is very good, but will remain with me. I don't know. For now, it goes on top of amazing. I'm Traveling Alone is dark thriller, totally amazing. Has one of the best characters. The crimes are very interesting because these girls are being murdered and they'll be left in the street hanging with a thing saying, "I'm traveling alone." So it's about these girls who've been murdered hanging on the trees with a sign like "I'm traveling alone" from the airlines, and they start to think who is this who is this serial killer. We have a detective who is assembling his whole team, the Mia, who has a lot of troubles in her mind, and she's coming back for the last case. I found it was very interesting, definitely one of the best thrillers of the year. Don't know if it's a new favorite. Don't know. Strangers on the Train, very good. I really liked Patricia Highsmith's book. I think the characters were very interesting to follow. The story, the concept of the killing, also part of the May Perfect Murders project. Guy is such a character. I think the other one is named Bruno. It's amazing. My copy was sent to Logan because he already read it and we also already love it. So Patricia Highsmith, it's good. A Gathering of Shadows. I'll say it's enjoyable, but it's the last end. Gathering of Shadows is the second one. I think it suffers a little bit from the middle book syndrome, a connection between the second and the third. Most of it, we are promising a tournament of magic, but it only appears in the last, 200 pages, 150 pages of the book. It has like 500. The rest is just build up of characters. We're building up action, we're building up training scenes, we're building up this, and then I wanted the tournament. I want the tournament to be the main focus. I want the tournament to be everything that I wanted to be the tournament, because, that's the most interesting part with magic. Then we have Secret History by Donna Tartt. It's a meh book. I didn't like it. I thought it was super boring. The characters were interesting, but at the same time they were nothing special. Very pretentious, very like, ooh, we are snob, we are so intellectual. Oh my god! And I couldn't. It was like too much for me. It put me on the slump for the May Perfect Murders. I think the books that came after that really suffer a little bit because I read this one. It wasn't good. I didn't like it. Almost Mortal, I think it's the first one on the Christopher Lieb series of legal thrillers. I think it was top enjoyable. I think the concept is very good. It's about this attorney who has like a cunning to discover the truth, who knows when everyone is lying, and then he starts unveiling his past. He comes with a sort of magic realism and religious stuff, so I thought it was very good, and I think it was very interesting. I think the second is a little bit better because we already established some things, and in the first we are like, what is happening? Because everything is a little bit weird, but I think it's totally enjoyable if you are looking for a new author or support like a small author that is not by a big publishing house. Perfect. Marked. I should have created here a tier, he says, like memories from childhood, because for me it's very good. It's the first one, it's enjoyable. It's not very good, but it's enjoyable. The Mark is the House of Night series, is the first one. For me, it's one of the series from my childhood. I really love those books. The first one set up a lot of things. I saw some Easter eggs for later the series that I only discovered now that I finished all the series, and I was like, oh, this is so good. And I think it's enjoyable. It's not the best book on the series from the 12s, but I think there are later books that are more interesting, but it's very enjoyable. Geekarella, very good. I really liked the audiobook for Geekarella. I think it was a very fresh retaking on the Cinderella story. We have this Greek girl who has this Starfield convention that she's very fan, and now there's going to be a remake of the movie. She doesn't like the actor, but then she starts texting the author without knowing, and they go like this. It's so refreshing. I really enjoy it. Malice Aforethought. I think I gave it low star, but I think it's enjoyable. I think it was suffering a little bit of Donna Tartt's slump that I put in, but I think it's enjoyable. It's about this doctor who tries to kill his wife for this mistress, but then he's letting out, and then he believes he's like God because he killed his wife and not get caught, and then he tries to murder, the guy the mistress is liking or is gonna marry, something like that. But it's very interesting to follow him as a character because how paranoid he starts to be, and how he thinks he's not gonna get caught. So that was interesting to know and to follow, and I think it's definitely a good read. A Conjuring a Light. It's very good. It's the end of very good, beginning of enjoyable, because I think there are some problems with pacing from what I recall in some plot conveniences, but besides that, it's a very good book. We move to my brother's husband. It's amazing. I have here volume 1 and volume 2, both are amazing. Like, I love that manga. I read it on my birthday online, and I was like, It's so good, it's so good, it's so good. Oh my god. I didn't put it the best of the year because I feel like, I don't know, but it's so good. You should have read it, because maybe I should put it on the best of the year. I don't know. But it's about this man that comes from Canada after his husband died, and come to visit his husband's family on Japan, which is truly homophobic, and he has to win over the brother-in-law, and the nephew, the niece really loves him, and then they start to build this connection. It's so good, oh my god. And also the brother starts to heal because he never truly fell with his brother after he left. So good, so good, so good. Totally recommend it. It's a very fast read. You have to read it. Sight. It's a new favorite. It's a new favorite, or it's just amazing. I have strong feelings about new favorites. New favorites are for life. Are those books that you always remember. I always remember Sight, but I don't think it make total impact to be a new favorite. It's just totally amazing. I love the characters, I love the setting, I love the plot twists, I love everything about the world. Keep me grabbing, reading more. It was one of the books that I most will recommend to take you out of a slump, because it's so good. It's so good. Totally recommend for that one. Then Dear Evan Hansen. For me it was meh. Yeah, I don't think it's a bad book, but I don't know. I didn't feel emotional connected. I didn't feel emotional punches. I didn't care a little bit. So I won't say to avoid it. Some people may found very connective and very emotional, but I think it didn't deliver to me. Definitely not a book that will, like, a book that will remain me in my mind for a long time. Hearthstopper, it's a new favorite, so I will put just here all the Hearthstoppers because I love all the series. Let's go. I'm missing the fourth. It's here. I love the Hearthstopper series. It's a new favorite. I love Nick and Charlie relationship. I love the drawing. I love the story. I think it's adorable. I think it's so realistic. I connect so much with that relationship because mine is so similar sometimes with the characters, with Charlie specifically. It's new favorite. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Vicious. Unpopular opinion here, it was enjoyable. I don't think it was very good in the same... He gave it 4 stars, so it's definitely more than just enjoyable, but I think I was expecting something else than just a character driven and story and connection, a little bit of plot, because when the plot kicked in I was more invested, but I like the characters, so I'm truly intrigued by the sequel to read it, but I really enjoy the characters, but something was missing to appeal to be a very good book. Small Great Things from Jodie is amazing. I think it's a new favorite by her. It's about racism, a black woman nurse who gets fired because she touched the white supremacist baby and he ended up dying, and then comes this and she comes to this court trying to fight because she is accused of neglect murder. So it's a very interesting story about racism for the author, which is a white woman. It taught her a lot about the racism that she has on her that she didn't know. She took these classes to understand and to build the character of the lawyer, which is a white woman who isn't racist, but then she understands that she's racist in some ways that she never thought about, and I think it's truly an amazing story. School of Good and Evil. It's enjoyable. I think the first book is not bad. It's not the best. I think it's leaning to a middle grade, probably a YA will a little bit better, although it has some dark themes. The story is interesting, the characters. Spencer said the writing was not the best, but I read the translated piece that I have in Portuguese, so I will not judge by that yet, but for me it was enjoyable. I liked the story. City of Girls. Amazing. I love that City of Girls. After Evelyn Hugo, it's my favorite historical fiction set in the 50s, 40s. Like, City of Girls is a book about empowering women. Women take what they want when they want, about what it means to be strong. Doesn't mean if you're lonely, or it's not a bad thing that you are lonely, that you don't have someone like every day in your life you can be a free spirit, you know, you can own your sexuality. It's an amazing story, totally loved it, amazing. If you like historical fiction, it's one recommended. The Black Flamingo, very good, really enjoyed the Black Flamingo. I didn't connect with Clap When You Land, and I have here on the list, because I think it was in audiobook. I read Black Flamingo on Kindle and I loved the style, I love the poetry because I could put my own speed on it and I could connect more with the words. Totally enjoy it. The Wide Window, a very good book. I really like the Nameless Secret series so far. I think the first two are a little bit repetitive in some points, like this is a sad story, this is a story about children that will not make you happy. And I think that will make you a little bit like, oh, again, but then the third one really improved. Darkness Falls is amazing. I love the new Robert Brinsley book. If you haven't picked any Robert Brinsley book, go pick it. One of the best thriller authors out there. Nine Elms, it's a new favorite. I love Nine Elms. Like, that book, I don't know. I think it's the writing style plus the story plus what it's about that is a new favorite. I totally love Nine Elms. House in the Cerulean Sea, very good. I enjoyed the story. I think it was cuddly, I think it was cozy, I think it was romantic, I think it was sweet, but it didn't conquer me everything, but it was what I needed at the time. It was something cute, funny, warm hug, totally loved it. Down Comes the Night, it's amazing. It's amazing, yes. It's not a new favorite, but it's an amazing book. No one talks about it, but I will, and it was one of my favorites of the year. It's a it's a new adult fantasy in this world where magic is connected with science, and then she has to heal the traitor of her queendom, but then she starts to have feelings, and it's a very good with a lot of political intrigue. I really liked it. I really recommend it if you haven't checked it. Totally. The Invisible Life of Adil Room. I would say it's the end of amazing. I read it in the end of the year, was my last book. And I think it's very good. I think it's amazing. I like the story. I like the characters. I like the connection I feel with Henry. I feel the connection between them. To be a new favorite, I think in the reread will be more interesting because now I was focusing more on plot, more on knowing, and after I knowing all that, I felt that I need to reread this to captivate more the characters, and I think in that time it will become a new favorite, but by now it's just amazing. Iron Widow by Shiran Jajao goes again with Adil Rue like for the end because it's amazing. I love the scenes of fighting, I love the messages, I love the world, I love the plot, but there are some nitpicks that I have, especially with Xintian personality, the way that she lives so much like the hate, and she doesn't understand that the women in that world that she lives are so controlled, and it's something that is so built then that it's hard to break in. And also why she's so different from the others, like in this we don't give any like on the why. And you know, there's some nitpicks that we had a little bit, well, because I read this with the Interstellar Book Club from Steph and Mel and Max, and I will link below if I remember, but we had some nitpicks, but it was a very good book. Clap Where You Land, it was meh for me. I don't know, I didn't found the writing interesting, the story was, the characters, but the writing was not for me. Probably was the audiobook, I don't know, but I didn't. It was not the most disappointed book ever, but it's in the hype thing between meh and enjoyable, because it was a little bit enjoyable, but it's mostly a meh. Shadow Sands was enjoyable. I don't think it was very good, I think it was enjoyable, probably a little bit higher than marked, but it has some. It's not the best on the trilogy that I've read so far from the Kate Marshall series. Definitely I have some nitpicks with the book, with the story, with the plot. Writing styles are amazing, but something was missing. Kingdom of the Wicked was meh. Like, I want a story about witches, about demons, with fighting, with magic explained, where it's not a romance, It's not focused on the romance between two characters. Can I have that? Is that too hard? And that's what it was. I was like, okay, she can do magic, but how? What is base? Some explanation. No, it's about romance. And the second one is full of smut. So it's a smut series. And why? I want witches and magic. The Drowner was a little bit of a meh. Not as bad as the Secret History. It's an old, it's written in the 60s. It follows a certain rule of those crime novels, and definitely not the best written, but it's interesting. But it's a little bit of a meh. It's not like a full recommendation. It's not bad, but it's also very hard to find because it's no longer printed. So yeah, You Have a Match. It's a meh book for me. It's like after Tweet Cute, which I loved it, multiple POV, 3 stories connected, like they would have 3 personalities almost connected with each other, like so good. I loved it. Love the concept, love the writing, love the audiobook. Meet You Have a Match was a bummer. Like single POV, the character was not interesting to follow sometimes. I would love to see more distinguished. I was expecting much more of the story. I was like, no, it's just meh. From Tweet Cute, which I really enjoy it was a downgrade. Meet Cutari, same thing. Worst problem here was the kid. I already said this on my most disappointed books. It's like, he's so annoying that you end up hating the book because of that. Some people love it because he's annoying, but I couldn't. It's like, no. For me, it was a meh book. Amari and the Night Brothers is a new favorite. Absolutely. Like, no doubt. One of the best books I've read this year, or in this case, last year. So good, so entertaining, like creme de la creme for middle grade. And then, perfect, because we have here lore, and I read lore after Amari, and it's like, how can a book that is a young adult have less content or have less information about the world and everything than a middle grade that is more explained? I was like, how? Why? I didn't like lore. Breaks in action because of flashbacks from chapters. The characters change personalities very quickly. The romance was like, no. The concept was good, the idea, but then, no. The Shadow Man was also meh for me. I thought was not bad written. There was a detective story, but it's not. I think people understand that I wanted a paranormal book. No, I didn't want a paranormal book. But when I'm looking for a serial killer, I want him. I don't want to have a lot of information about him. I want to have some chapters where I show him being like cruel or a serial killer or something that is very vicious, and then remaining in the mystery, showing me a lot of him and showing me his weaknesses and something like that. It doesn't entertain me because it's like, okay. Where is the horror? Where is the creepiness? Where is like the suspense? No, the ending was a little bit good, but so far no. Every Vow You Break. I'll go between the enjoyable and the meh. Between the enjoyable and the meh. It was enjoyable. I liked it. It was predictable, but at the same time I really enjoyed the story, the audiobook, although the narrator was not the best because the voices of the men were so similar. But I predict what is going on some part, but I think it was enjoyable. Not the best for Peter Swanson, but enjoyable. Little Thieves, it's a very good book. I really enjoy Little Thieves. Like, I don't think it needs a sequel. I don't know what the sequel is going to be about, but as a standalone, I think it works very well. I like the characters, I like the magic, I like the folklore involved. Even if it's a single POV, it's so entertaining. The characters, the sidekicks, everything in the story, it works very well. 1500 miles from the sun. Top of very good. Because I think it shows a message, and that's why it's in top of very good, that not everything, queer story has an happy ending. And in this one, not everyone or not everything is solved and not everything has an happy ending. And I think that was very realistic, very entertaining, the characters, the story, everything. So, totally very good, very recommended if you haven't checked it out. Legendborn, also very good. Not amazing because I think the love triangle is not necessary. I think the author should stick with one love interest. The double was too much. I thought interesting the Arthur part, although sometimes a little bit confusing. The revelation, I was like a little bit expecting it, because I was like, I'm a bit confused because I thought she was part of the legend, and then when the twist comes out, okay, I was right, but I was fooled. So, but I liked it, that part. But I think the love triangle should work a little bit on that, because I didn't like it. As Far As You Take Me, also a very good book. Queer, about this boy who doesn't as accepted his in home because the parents are very religious. He comes to live with his aunt to London because he got accepted to this music school, but he hasn't. Aunt goes in a trip, so he's alone with his cousin, which is also LGBTQ. And it's a coming of age story, very good, very entertaining, very well written, very first love. Missing Pieces, I think it's a new favorite. I love Tim Weaver's writing style so far. I read 2 books by him. I think they are very atmospheric, very on point. This one is so good in terms of atmosphere. It's like you feel the cold, you feel the fear. It's setups between past and present, so it's going to jump back and forth, which I think it works because you are living with her, like how she's gonna manage, but you also want to know how she ended up like that. So I think it was very good. Last Thing to Burn, new favorite, absolutely. Like that book, one of the first of the year last year, was like, God, Will Dean is so good. One of the favorite thrillers. Everyone, like, I think a lot of people will enjoy this. I start to hear some in Twitter because he tweets a little bit, but everyone, if you want a good thriller, definitely this is a good pick. Almost Dane, I think, is the second one on this series of the Almost Mortal. I think it was a little bit better. I think it worked more because you know the characters, you know what is going on, and it's a very interesting story. I will not say more. Double Indemnity, I think it was very enjoyable. From what I remember, it's between the enjoyable and the very good. It's about this woman and this this insurance agent who tries to kill, in this case, the woman's husband to get the double indemnity clause, and then how they get caught. It's very interesting, very good. Also very good, I would say, let's put here, Jadefire Gold. No, I'll put this one's a little bit higher. Yes, a little bit higher, like here. Yes. Jadefire Gold. No, I like Relatives a little bit more. Sorry. Jadefire Gold, Asian inspired. Like the characters. I like the world. Like the end because it's that ending is like, how can I survive after this? I need answers. But I have a nitpick that is like, why should everything be a sacrifice for love and in the romantic sense and not just in the friendship love side? And I think that is the thing that I'm looking for, and the others are still felt very much like all the same. Continuing on, A Convertible of Magpies. I think it was enjoyable. This is, I believe, a self-published author. Doesn't have a lot of reviews on Goodreads, so if you are interested, it has some lore that I think it could be explored a little bit more. The book ends up being a little bit rushed because of that. I think it was because it was self-published, but it's, I believe, the first on a supposed series. I hope the author continues to publish the others because it was interesting, the concept of magic. I don't remember a lot of that, but I remember enjoying it, and it was bad written. I think it was. I believe he has a sapphic relationship, so I will recommend to you to check it if still highly. Mercurial, also enjoyable. I think the love is a little bit overstretched, but the magic is interesting, the characters, the twist that we get, it's an interesting and enjoyable book. A little bit predictable in terms of the romance, but it's enjoyable. It's not bad, definitely. It's enjoyable. Wish You Were Here by Jodie. I think it's amazing. Jodie did it again. It's about COVID, so if you are triggered by COVID, beware. It's not a hard light novel, but the descriptions that she gets from the woman Diana's fiance about COVID and people dying. I think they are very heartbroken. All the situation, how to live, how to learn to live, everything. The twist in the middle could turn some people off, or some people like really enjoy that. But I think it's an amazing book. I think one of the best of the last years from her. Lord of Eternal Night, very good. Like smutty romance vampire / wizard is all you need to know. It's smut, and I really enjoy it. This one is the one the Avoid was created. Summoner's Cry. It's an Avoid book. Please avoid it. It's not good. It's not interesting. Please, please, please. Homegrown Worries. I think it was enjoyable. It was more middle grade with these animals taking place of real people. You know, I think it was a cool reality for younger kids. You know, this diary of adventures of the summer. I think it was good, interesting. Yeah, I think it was good. Memories of Cleopatra. I think it was very good. This is the second volume because in Portugal I divided in 3, and I think the story is very good. It's the story of Cleopatra, you know, the loves, the treasons and everything. It's very good, the atmospheric, the writing style. The Final Empire is... Okay, I'll put you here and let's go up. The Final Empire is top of amazing, and Well of Ascension is a new favorite. Although the series as a whole is a new favorite, I haven't finished Hero of Ages yet. So I'm putting here at high stakes that Hero of Ages is amazing. But I really love more Well of Ascension than I did in the Final Empire, although the Final Empire is also very good. So it goes here. It goes to a new favorite. I don't care. It goes for a new favorite. It deserves it. It's very good. Love the plot. Love the characters. Love the magic. Love the world. Loved everything. The second one, I think it was because I knew the world, so everything comes more fluid. These two from the Lemon Secrets, The Bad Beginning and The Reptile Room, I think it was enjoyable. I think they are enjoyable books. I didn't like so much that part of repeating all in all, like this is a sad story. But yeah, I think they are enjoyable. And the last one is Death Trap, which is a play, and I think it's a very good one. I think it has some interesting concepts. I like the play. I like plays. I think it's a very funny and thriller play. So I will definitely recommend you to read it or to watch it, because I believe there is a company that put on YouTube, so you can watch it. So this is my 2 rankings. As you can see, I have 1 avoid book, some mess, but most of my reads were between enjoyable and very good. I have some amazing reads and new favorites. 1 series, 2 series, and some of the books that made my best of the year. Some of them made, like Traveling Alone, Sight, Comes the Night, are some books that I did say and they are the best of the year, but are not new favorites. City of Girls didn't make, but it was so good. It was like narrow to 10. It's like, is this the best of the year? And it was very close, so it was an honorable mention. So this was my tier ranking. Tell me guys, how do you feel about it? How do you like tier ranking, and what do you thought about my tier ranking this? Like, tell me all. I love to discuss this with you. If you like the content, don't forget to like and subscribe. It's also very important. If you want to support my channel, I have affiliate links for Blackwell's booktube story and Waterstones for you to use. They have no cost to you, but you are supporting me. I also create a Ko-fi if you want to support me in other ways, and I have Amazon wishlist if you want to send me something. That is also another way to support me. I post videos every Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays, nearly close to 6 p.m. GMT, and I also have live reading experience on Fridays on 9 p.m. GMT. If you want to join as a co-host or as an audience member, just comment in the chat and have fun reading the weekend, and I see you guys on my next video. Bye.